The first time I saw my bank account drained to zero, my whole body went cold. Years of savings gone in a single swipe. When I confronted my sister, she didn't even flinch. She twirled her car keys, grinning at the shine of her brand new luxury ride. "Relax, you can just save again," she said with a shrug. I needed this more. And my parents? They nodded along. "She deserves it," Mom said softly. Dad chimed in. "Be a good sibling, support her." That was the moment something in me shifted. I stopped being family and became executioner. I smiled, walked into the kitchen, picked up my phone, and called the bank. What they didn't know was that the fund wasn't just mine. It was tied directly to theirs. I had built it carefully, not just to buy a house, but as leverage. It was packed with joint investments, co-signed guarantees, and tax shelters with their names mixed in. They thought they were clever, weaving me into their financial web so I could never escape. What they didn't realize was that I studied every single statement, every loophole. If they wanted to bleed me dry, they'd bleed too. But I didn't rush. No, I stayed patient. I let my sister brag. At dinner, she went on about the leather seats, the custom rims, the jealous looks from her friends. My parents clapped like proud spectators, dazzled by their golden child. "Don't worry," my sister teased with a smirk. "When you finally get your little house, I'll come visit in style." Her words burned, but I swallowed the anger. Rage makes you sloppy, and I wanted to be sharp, surgical, so I studied their debts, the stretched-out mortgage payments, the quiet late fees, the credit line my father barely kept alive, the medical bills my mother kept hidden. My sister's shiny new car wasn't even fully paid. It was a noose of monthly payments she couldn't cover without them. That was my crack in the wall. So I moved in silence, shifting accounts, calling the bank, the broker, the lawyer I'd been quietly paying for years. Then I pulled the pin on the grenade they handed me when they tied my savings to theirs. One by one, accounts froze. Credit lines collapsed, insurance premiums defaulted. My fund had been the collateral holding them up. Without it, their house of cards crumbled. I sat back and watched the numbers change in real time. My sister's car loan flagged red, my parents' mortgage under review, their perfect balance shattered in hours. And then, I waited. 2 weeks later, the call came. "Why are our accounts frozen?" Dad barked. Behind him, Mom's voice cracked, panicked. My sister screeched, demanding answers. I held the phone steady, my voice calm. "Because you spent what wasn't yours." Dad sputtered, "You selfish little—" But I cut him off. "You wanted me to save again? Then start saving yourselves." My voice was sharp, final. Then I hung up. The fallout was beautiful. My sister tried to hold on to the car, but she couldn't. It was repossessed in broad daylight. A tow truck hauled away her pride as the neighbors watched, whispering. My parents scrambled, begging the bank for extensions. Denied. They were forced to sell the vacation cabin just to keep the main house. My mother cried, my father raged, and me? I signed the deed to my brand new condo, paid in full, keys in my pocket. I didn't invite them to see it. Months later, they showed up unannounced. They stood in my spotless kitchen like ghosts of the royalty they once pretended to be. My sister without her car, my father hollow-eyed, my mother gaunt. "You ruined us," Dad hissed. "No," I said flatly. "You did that to yourselves." My sister's eyes burned with fury. "You think you're better than us?" I met her glare, cold and steady. "No, I just learned not to let parasites feed off me." Silence filled the room, heavy and unbreakable. They turned and left without another word. That was the last time they ever stepped foot in my home. Now I sit by my window, city lights flickering against the glass. My name is on every deed, every account, untouchable. I gave them a choice once, family or betrayal. They chose betrayal. I gave them a second choice, humility or collapse. They chose arrogance, and so I gave them their ending. They thought my savings were theirs to steal, but I made sure their empire rested on my foundation. When they drained me, they pulled the ground out from under themselves. That was the plan all along. That was my revenge. Because sometimes justice doesn't come from yelling or fighting. It comes from smiling, making one phone call, and watching everything they built collapse into ashes while you rise above it untouched.